And the first round of high-level talks between the United States and Iran has concluded in Switzerland.
And as per a joint statement issued by mediators Pakistan and Qatar, the talks between the US and Iran, they were conducted in a positive and constructive atmosphere, and encouraging progress was made. Now, the statement also said that the US and Iran have agreed to establish a high-level committee to provide political oversight of the mediation. It added that the committee has agreed on a roadmap towards reaching a final deal within 60 days, while technical talks will continue in Switzerland for the rest of this week on all outstanding issues.
Well, chief negotiators will report regularly to the high-level committee and lead working groups focused on nuclear issues, sanctions, and a monitoring and dispute resolution mechanism to ensure the effective implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding, as well as other matters.
The statement also noted that Washington and Tehran have agreed to establish a deconfliction cell with Lebanon to halt military operations and prevent further escalation.
Now, Lebanon continues to be a major point of contention. Israel is firm on its operation against Hezbollah, while Iran has refused to finalize a deal without peace in Lebanon. And Donald Trump is now putting the blame of Lebanon impasse on Iran.
Now, the talks were held against the backdrop of Iran's announcement that it had closed the strategic Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli attacks in Lebanon, a claim that has been disputed by the United States. In the talks on Sunday, US and Iran agreed to set up a communication line to avoid incidents in the Strait of Hormuz.
All right, to discuss more on this, we're now being joined by Adrian Calmel from New York. He's a fellow at Arabian Peninsula Institute and a scholar. He's also the author of forthcoming book on Hezbollah. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. Always a pleasure talking to you. Well, so far it looks like it's a smooth sailing, although we have, of course, opinions and claims coming from Trump and also from Iran. At this point, looking at all the developments, how do you see this going forward?
Good morning to you, Josna. Good question. How's it going to go going forward? This is a memorandum of understanding. It's not a ceasefire. We're seeing the Islamic Republic wanting to pull Lebanon and Hezbollah into that negotiations and make that part of the overall negotiations. There's a 60-day window here. If you go through the different points that were put through in the memorandum of understanding, there's certain parts of it I just can't see the United States ever agreeing to. And I believe with some of the sanction relief that they're talking about, it would have to go through Congress. So, it doesn't really, today they didn't touch on the enrichment. They didn't touch on the nuclear program. I think the Islamic Republic is going to try and stay as far away from that as possible. They're using as little leverage as they have, Strait of Hormuz, and then these negotiations to really, really stick it to the United States. And the United States blinked on this. J.D. Vance owns this. He staked his political career on this, and basically he just lost the 2028 primary right now in 2026 with this, because as I see it, he's expecting the IRGC, Mohsen Rezai, Ghalibaf, these individuals to play nice. And that has not happened over the course of 47 years. So, I'm pessimistic.
Adrian, as you mentioned, that the core issues which started the entire conflict, and it has lasted in the last 47 years, more than that, in fact, is the nuclear issue, which has not even been brought up yet. Iran has introduced another aspect to the equation, that's Lebanon. Do you feel Iran's bargaining chips have increased ever since Feb 28th?
Oh, they've been playing. They shouldn't have, but they've been playing their hand extremely well. They basically, the Strait of Hormuz was a break the glass, end of times. This is our last card to play here. And they played it, and they played it very well. Now, during that time, the United States has claimed, and there has been this mini Operation Freedom where tankers have been moving out, hugging the Omani coastline and getting out into the global market. But it was, somewhat of a trickle. I see what's happening now. It's really a political stopgap measure to resupply the global the global fuel markets, and also to lower gas prices in the United States and win the Republican primaries, or at least give them a chance in the 2026 primaries. So, the regime is playing this very well, as they always do. We play checkers, they play chess.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take there.
I'm sorry, the inverse. We play checkers, they play chess.
Right.
Or go. Even harder.
Yes. Right. And that being said, you, of course, have your study on Hezbollah. At this point of time, of course, they have not backed down, and Israel has also not backed down, and we're not getting out of South Lebanon. Do you think anywhere that U.S. will be able to convince Netanyahu, okay, we need to get this deal done, so listen to us and get out of Lebanon?
Yeah, there's two parts of this. We got to remember who's telling Hezbollah to fire the rockets. It's the Islamic Republic of Iran. They're telling this. It's also the Israeli. The Israelis are pushing in to create that buffer zone that was a failure of the international community under UN Security Council Resolution 1701, which established UNIFIL. We've seen talks about the Lebanese government disarming Hezbollah, the regime is going to continue to try and sow chaos and try and bring Hezbollah, Lebanon, into these negotiations. Because if we go back to October 7th, 2023, before the Nova incident massacre, Hezbollah was the greatest threat to Israel. And they were decimated over the course of 2 years. And this is why the regime really wants to make sure that they're part of this, so that they can take some of that money that they're going to get and build them back up.
Adrian, it's the first day of the talks that concluded. It's going to continue. Technical talks will continue in a week. And you already have talks concluding somewhere in Lebanon. That's where they've started with, which was never part of the equation before Feb 28th. They're asking for frozen assets to be released, lifting of the blockade, including reopening of oil and petrochemical exports. Iran is really getting, and let's not forget that $300 billion that was part of the Memorandum of Understanding as reparations for Iran. So Iran's really playing this one in their own favor. Let's see what US gets. We'll need to wait and watch how this one pans out. Thanks so much for joining us, Adrian. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.